Embrace the darkness, Jackie.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my The Darkness 2 Dawn difficulty video walkthrough. This is chapter 2 and it's entitled Payback. And anybody that's familiar with the demo will know exactly what's going to occur here, so I don't really think I need to tell you strategy because this is the tutorial mission, and for the most it's exceptionally easy. What I am going to talk about though is how to play the game as opposed to, how not to play it, I suppose. And what I mean by that is I don't want to be patronising or condescending. I just mean there are certain ways to play this game. And the first thing that I'd like to mention is the game wants you to get up close and personal with dudes and use the darkness powers. It rewards you for doing this, and it's almost tailored this way. The reason for that is the guns are not as effective as the darkness is, and it seems to be more fixated on the use of your abilities. And for the most you can do that if you want to, but just be aware, on this difficulty you do die pretty quickly, and unless you know how to game the system you could have trouble with dealing with some of the situations. And the middle grounds in this is utilising it's kind of a shooter, kind of a different type of game, using the powers and then using the guns and all that, and creating a kind of symbiosis where you use them both effectively, which is perfect if that's your style. But there is also the full-on first-person shooter mode. And what I would say is, throughout this guide you are going to see me playing very recklessly. And what I mean by that is, I will be up close with the enemies a lot, I will be, doing pretty risky techniques to overcome some areas with some crowds. I'll be rushing, I'll be getting closer than I probably should. And the reason for this is I'm comfortable with the way the game controls, and I'm comfortable in my ability to game every situation on this game. And what I mean by that is, I know that if I get close to a dude and I shoot him, or if I whip him with the darkness, I can pick him up, and as soon as I pick him up I can do an execution move that will make me invincible while I do it, and it will give me life of any of that what I've lost throughout, getting to that guy and executing him. So through this technique, I feasibly can continue to kill people, get my life back, and teeter on the edge of dying. What I'm doing pretty much right now with one block of life just in their faces, taking them out. And it is a very effective technique. The only problem is, if you're not comfortable with doing it, or it's not how you want to play, then I would definitely say only do it in certain areas, and only the areas that you're comfortable with. Never force a playstyle on you that isn't your style. And if you do start having troubles with an area, like you start dying or you're getting stripped down really quickly, my best advice is to go into first-person shooter mode. Stay back, keep as much distance as you can, pick up like a car door or something, and just snipe people. Just use the guns. And if that's an option that you want to play through the entire game with, playing it primarily as a first-person shooter with, various different abilities to support you, then I would definitely spec your character towards, being a sniper, getting more ammo, doing more damage with the guns and all that good stuff, and you'll probably have a lot of success, because there's only a couple of occasions in the game where they force you to get very close, and when you're that close, you can use the darkness to generally shit on people's chests. But it's all entirely up to you. So this is our first encounter with the upgrade shrine. I'll buy the ability to eat hearts and pretty much nothing else. I'm going to be saving up for the dark armor. And a couple of abilities that I would say are pretty good. The ability where executions give you more hearts, give you more life, is a good one. When you eat hearts to get more life, that's a good one. And the reload is actually a pretty decent one as well, the quick reload, although it does take a point to get to it. And the reason I say this is there's a couple of levels later on where you're going to get stuck with a python, even though it's called a cobra on this game. And the reload is, he thumbs every shell into the weapon, and if you get the quick reload, he just puts the self-reloader in and then slams it shut, and it will make those sequences a lot easier if you're going to be using that pistol. But also, if you're going to be shooting more than you're going to be using the darkness, feel free to upgrade the execution, the hitman execution that enables you to get ammo, because that will feed your weapons really well. And if you don't need life when you're executing a guy, just press X instead, and you will get some ammunition. It's a really interesting system. I would say though, don't overthink the abilities, because a lot of them are pretty much just face value. None of them are, game changers. I don't think there's a single ability on this game that I needed to beat it. So if you do spec yourself in a different way to me, it's not a problem, because you will still be able to utilise a lot of the strategies I do. Two abilities I will be using throughout the guide that I definitely recommend you picking up are the the gun channeling ability, which makes your gun more damaging for a set amount of time. And the best thing to do when you activate that ability is just spam the trigger with whichever gun you've got that's most powerful. You will not waste any ammo, you will do a ton of damage, and as soon as the purple glow wears off and the funny sounding gun, then you'll have to stop because it'll fuck your ammo count. But it is a fantastic way of giving yourself more ammunition than you actually have, so always bear that in mind. And if you can purchase the recharge, timeout so that they recharge a little bit better, then that'll just help you in the long run. Entirely up to you though, and it's not a mandatory, it's just a good ability. The second one I would recommend is the Swarm, which is you send out, I think it's a swarm of locusts to stun people. And if I'm completely honest, on my first playthrough of this game, I didn't really buy it until really at the end of the game, right at the end of the game, sorry. And when I did purchase it, I came up against a shield guy and I sent the Swarm out. I did not upgrade it, it was just the standard one, and it made him drop his shield, it made him turn his shield to the side so I could kill him. So for the heavier guys, like the guys that steal your weapon, the guys that teleport, and the guys with the shields, the Swarm is amazing. And if you upgrade it, it will stop people from shooting you. So if you get yourself in a shit situation where there's a couple dudes around you and you need to grab one of them and eat their heart to get your life back, use your Swarm, it'll stop them from shooting you, you can pick them up and execute them and get your life back. So there's a lot of different uses for it, and it's surprising the different techniques you can utilise to get through the game. But as I mentioned in the first video, this is not a difficult game by any means. I would say it's easier than the first game, because there was a thing where when you didn't have your darkness on you, you died almost immediately, and on this game you never really have that issue. The only times you will die is if you get lazy or if you get too aggressive. But once again, we are back into demo territory, so this should be familiar for the people that played. For the people that didn't, this is pretty much a warm-up for the later game, and if you're having trouble against the normal soldiers, the normal criminals, gangsters, whatever you would call them, then later on you're probably going to have some difficulty because they start to get a hell of a lot more armor, they start to get lights, flashbangs, and a whole bunch of abilities that will mess you up. And as long as you know where they are and as long as you know how to take them out, they're not too bad, but I'll get onto that when we get to those sections that demand it. So for the rest of this, I'm probably going to talk about how I felt about the game itself. So I like this game a lot. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but that's just because I have very fond memories of the first one. I'll probably go back and play it and think it's inferior, but as it stands, nostalgia makes me think the first game is better. And it's just because it was original, and I loved the gun executions, and I liked the hell sections even though they were kind of shitty, and I loved the side quests in the subway and the little hub world and all that good stuff. This game nails the combat. It's got responsive combat, it feels good, it makes you feel powerful. A lot of the abilities are pretty fun to use and are interesting, and it's one of those combats where, sure, you're doing pretty much the same thing, a lot of it, but you don't really notice that much because you're enjoying it so much. One of the big issues I had with my playthrough of this is, towards the middle of the game, the story kind of drops out to be non-existent. You're just chasing down the Brotherhood, and Jackie is still having a hard time over Jenny's death, but there's nothing really inspiring or keeping you playing. And towards that section of the game when that happened and that occurred, I kind of realised that all I was doing was moving A to B, killing people, in the same way I'd been doing since level 1. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, because it is enjoyable combat, but I do think they missed something in the centre that could have mixed it up. Maybe a boss fight against, something large or something silly, or just something to change the pace up a little bit. Because it kind of got to me that way. Couple things with the AI bugged me during my playthrough. Like, they will hit you from some silly distances, and I know this is on the hardest difficulty, but there are times on this game where you'll take cover against something and you'll think you're safe and you're not because they can shoot through it. And I don't know if that's down to the percentage of accuracy increase that Dawn difficulty gives them, or if it's just the way the game was designed, but some of the cover is as useless as it was in Kane and Lynch 1. And if anybody remembers, you were practically like being stood behind a piece of polystyrene on that game. It wasn't useful at all. And that did get a little bit annoying. My other gripes with it are there was not as many weapons as I expected. I expected a couple more than there are. The weapons in the game are fun and they're useful, but I don't know, I thought we'd get rocket launchers and shit, I thought we'd get crazy stuff, and it stays pretty tame. There's I think 2 shotguns, there's about 4 pistols, there's 3 assault rifles. It's all pretty standard fare. And I'm going to say this before I carry on this little tangent. The game is good, there is some awesome things about it, but the awesome things are what you're seeing right now. It's playing it and it's having fun. The only reason I'm dwelling on some of the negatives is because they're the little faults that I have with it, and the positives are easy to see and easy to enjoy. The negatives not so much. And some of the reviews have been really harsh on this game, and I don't agree with a lot of them, but I do have different complaints to what a lot of the reviews had. Like, the upgrade tree in this game is garbage. I expected it to be really fun and really different, and a couple of the abilities are great, but most of them are just filler. Half of them are about the maths that's happening behind the screen. The stuff you don't see, like the percentages of ammo and stuff, and that doesn't interest me at all. In fact, I think that's lazy, and I don't think the developers should have focused on that. It should have focused on stupid abilities, like giving Jackie wings and things. And a part of me can kind of forgive them because the darkness armor looks so badass, and it's the reason I spec that way. And look at this for playing it close to the bone right now. But like I mentioned, people, if you execute them or you steal the hearts, you will get life back, and it allows you to play very recklessly if you're confident in your ability to do so. But yeah, the skill tree is appalling, and the bosses are as well. The bosses are very weak. They're generally up against some random dude who's got a very predictable pattern, and the only reason they're even remotely challenging is because they throw minions at you. And if you're like me, and you think that throwing countless minions at a player while there's a boss in the same arena is the equivalent to video game racism, then you're probably not going to enjoy them, because the only reason half of them are even a remote challenge is because you're getting gang-fucked by a bunch of randoms while you're trying to focus on the boss. And the rest of my niggles are kind of, you know, just miscellaneous picky things with the scripting and with other areas. Like, there's an enemy that disarms you, and on a game that when you hold X to pick things up and eat hearts and do a whole bunch of different abilities, it can be confusing getting your weapons back, let alone when there's an enemy that actively knocks them out of your hand. So there are times in this game where I'll forget he's knocked something out of my hand, I'll move on to the next section, and I'll have gone into it without the weapon that I used to beat that section. And little things like, some of the weapon drops seem to be random. Like, on my first playthrough, I didn't get an MP7 until the second to the last level, but on the guide, I get it when we're attacking our own house, defending it from the Brotherhood, and it's very strange. And I don't know if it's because I've not noticed, I weren't paying attention, or if it's just part of the game design, but it's a bit jarring, and it's a bit weird. But there's also going to be some real short chapters where you get to walk around the house, but seeing as how I do them in record time, they're only going to be 2 to 3 minute videos, so I'm going to apologise in advance for those sections, because they are official chapters, and I'm going to talk about that in my next video, actually, because it really messed me up. But thanks for listening, guys, thanks for watching, I hope it helps, and you take care now.